Rogue Storm number 2 dropped this week, and with the Warrior Queen Storm going head up with the Cajun Gambit himself, we delve into the Age of Revelation. Come on, let's go.
I get on these beats and I provide my city dope. Yeah, I get on these beats and I revive my brother's hope. Yeah, I get on these beats and I flow like a ghost.
The issue opens up with Primal Storm sitting beside the fire, warming up her dinner. She takes Rogue Red's Inesium knuckles, wraps it in a spiritual orb, and swallows it the same way she swallowed Egon, before she begins to eat the fish she caught. From the trees behind her, Egon reveals himself, letting us now find out that for 5 years she has scoured the earth looking for him, and for those 5 years he has evaded her. Now he chooses to come for her. Why? Egon doesn't answer her, telling her famous last words of every livestock. Storm and him speak, with Egon telling her that their dance is not over. Their bones may be weary, but the music has not yet stopped. Then Egon really reaches for Storm's axe, like a fool, and is sliced in half by the rogue goddess, the Primal Storm, and her axe. What? You really went for her axe, bro? Egon laughs as his body is separated and begins to tell Aurora words about someone's coming. She needs to wake up. Storm finds out Egon is not real as his bottom half changes into a monstrous creature and stabs her in the stomach, waking her up. We then find Storm sleeping in Abeokuta, Nigeria, being awoken by a green spirit. That green spirit is Daniel Drumm, twin brother to Dr. Voodoo, Jericho Drumm, who helped Storm in earlier issues. Daniel awakens Storm and tells her someone's coming for her. We see motorcycle tires and Storm waiting for someone, as Daniel says, I knew I should have asked someone else for help, but my brother's last wish was for me to work with you. You probably think the Crimson Bands of Sidorak is a heavy metal band, don't you? So messed up. And she has fought Juggernaut so many times. How does she not know what the Crimson Bands of Sidorak are? And Doctor Strange just, you know what? Let's continue. Daniel continues to cower as Storm readies herself for who's coming. We turn the page to find a Blind Gambit coming in on a motorbike. Really? The blind X-Men who was just in Louisiana somehow navigated his way to Nigeria and is blindly driving a motorbike? I'll just let that, we'll just leave that right there as Storm closes her eyes to better listen. As she hears his approach, Storm shoots 3 arrows which are countered by 3 of Gambit's charged cards. How he knew exactly where each of those arrows were, I couldn't tell you, but it Blind Gambit over here, man. Gambit stops and says Storm. Storm stops and says Gambit. 2 panels later, Storm activates Agbada or Sust, which is a technique called Hunter's Madness. And if you look at this image, oh my god, it looks like she's about to go in. And yes, sir, this shit looks dope as fuck. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, what you are witnessing is Storm using her magics. She is using the magical power that she has in her bloodline right now. Because something, I don't know what's going on, but we're going to find out later in this issue. Something's going on, so she's tapping into it. Gambit speaks, telling Storm, the Storm Gambit knew don't shoot without checking first. She certainly don't power up, bracing for a fight at the mere sight of an old friend. Storm calms her hunter's madness down and replies, I'm sorry, brother. The Storm that you knew hadn't seen the betrayals that I've seen. Gambit reveals to her that he's blind and that he's been hearing things since he started looking for her. Family or not, none of that is going to stop him if what he hears has a lick of truth to it. So he asks, Aurora, what you do to Rogue Red? Rogue Red? Which Rogue? The red one? The red one he dumped and left for the green one only an issue ago? That Rogue? That's what we're talking about right now, Gambit? As we are hit with the opening intro, best served cold. We were then taken to Rogue Red, leading Uncanny X-Force to take down Storm after getting rid of her engines in the last issue, which was a pretty dope scene. We also know that in this moment that it happened earlier in the timeline. So what's about to go down right here that we're seeing will most likely give some insight into what Gambit is speaking to Storm about. Rogue Red grips her Inesium knuckles, and the team loads up the war creature. We're back in the frozen Sahara Desert 5 years ago into the Age of Revelation. I love this moment where Cajun says, one final push, and the world at last will know peace. Number 1, this is pure lies, as the world is still in the Age of Revelation. And 2, seemingly, the world has never known peace. This will change nothing in that department. Nothing to do with this, nothing at all. So If you're trying to hype the team up, good luck with this one. But I would have been sitting there looking at you like, please don't lie. Oxygen then continues to say, one final push, and the climate cataclysm will come to an end. Okay, this is true. I can give you this. Storm is the reason for the Sahara Desert being frozen. Next part. One final push, and we will kill a god. This is facts. So, 2 out of 3 are true. But, I mean, come on. Can you kill the goddess that is Storm? Rogue says, aim, fire, and the war creature lets it go. However, I do want to note before I go on, I love the nod to Moreira because he literally brought Superman's Fortress of Solitude into this series right here in a way. He gave a nod to it by making Storm's fortress look like it. From far away right here in this picture, they look like crystals. So you could see that Superman had a little bit of effect right here. And it's beautiful, beautiful. So boom, fire shot. The fortress is obliterated. The area clears, and Rogue looks through the snow and debris to find a valley with Storm in it, contained by a barrier. Iceman says, you didn't really think killing Storm was going to be that easy, did you, Red? And I thought to myself, if only they knew what her weakness was and how to exploit it. I mean, if they only knew there was this one little thing that Storm has had a past with. For some reason, it just tends to get underneath everything and just completely beats her. If they only knew about this one little thing right here. Warpath asks, what's the play as the team moves to the edge and down the slopes? Oxygen stays back while the rest all go. Just a side note, when a character does this right here, standing back like right here, it is never a good thing. Okay, just know that. It's like an unwritten rule. Don't ask me. I don't know, but I do know. Uncanny X-Force makes it to Storm in her containment field. Phantom X lifts a flask and says, for the homies, and pours something onto the barrier just to watch it freeze as it touches it. Phantom X asks Warpath for his vibranium knife, which he throws over to him. Phantom X puts the vibranium knife to the field and states, the dome is made of ice, cold enough to freeze whiskey into slush by the touch, but the air pressure within the dome is channeled in such a way that it enhances the durability of the ice dome. Iceman slides in on that last part right there and says it with Phantom X. He concludes, like a massive Prince Rupert's drop. Real quick, a Prince Rupert's drop is a tadpole-shaped piece of glass formed by dripping molten glass into cold water, creating a unique structure with immense strength in its bulbous head and extreme fragility in its long, thin tail. Apparently, the head can withstand great impacts, but the tail, once it's touched, it'll bust and everything will go due to the strain that's upon the entire thing. And it's more durable than vibranium. Phantom X inhales and is about to stab the knife into the dome when Rogue stops him and asks Bobby if he can melt the ice. Iceman proceeds to hit us with a, oh yes, and I mean like, oh yes, he proceeds to hit us with this. I'm the best at taking heat out of a system, but putting energy into a system, I wouldn't want to tussle with Storm at that. If I try to melt the ice while Storm's powers are keeping it frozen, it'd be like a tug of war between the two of the strongest weightlifters, both pulling their weakest muscles, competing at what we're both worst at. We'll be here for months. Oh, ho, ho, ho. My man, the Omega level mutant Iceman just said, literally, yeah, okay, that's not gonna do it. I'm not gonna be able to break her out of it. So yeah. Yes, you guys read it right here. Storm's godhood plus magic plus mutancy, Omega abilities over Iceman's Omega abilities. It's what it is. Nothing we can say about it, but we already knew this. Rogue Red accepts Bobby's answer and says, Anesium is better suited for the job. I'll break the ice. Rogue Red punches the dome one time to see what it's made of. She stretches her arms and says, all that pressure, your insides will be mush once I open the ice. I'm glad it's me that gets to do this. I love you, Aurora. And just as Rogue Red is about to punch the dome, Storm breaks free, destroying her chains and the dome. She says leave as she moves and grabs Rogue Red by the throat, or die. Next panel, we get Aquagene slicing Phantom X's head clean off. Storm chokes Rogue Red harder as she watches Aquagene maim Warpath. Storm begins to freeze the air around Rogue. Iceman turned into a giant and gets butchered by Aquagene's swords. Aquagene ended the entire team before Phantom X's body hits the ground. Okay, this is just for me right here. I just feel like Iceman shouldn't be in this issue because he's like serving nothing right now other than the explanation he just gave us on why he couldn't take down the ice abilities of her. That's all he's serving for right now, is to be an Omega, to show that he can't beat her as an Omega, even when she's not in control. Hakujin walks upon the crawling warpath and delivers a deadly stab. Then the narrator comes through saying, Akujin's betrayal sinks deeper than a knife to the back. Despite closed eyes, the slaughter of the Uncanny X-Force reaches Rogue Red. The screams, the warm blood, the crunch of bone and ice. Hate seethes from the trenches of her being. Rogue Red summons her rarely used mutant ability, an ability that strips away its victim's power and makes them hers. But that was exactly what Rogue Red Betrayer wanted. As Akujin stabbed Rogue Red in the stomach from behind, Akujin tells her, "You should have listened to the storm engines." Going back to issue 1 to see what the storm issue said, this storm engine said, "I am the joint consciousness and operating system of the storm engine. The mother's work is not to be disturbed. Teleport out of this vicinity immediately, or you will be decimated." And then in the next panels, she says, "The mother's work is not to be disturbed. She alone can save the world. She alone can halt the slow advance of Armageddon." I mean, Akujin said you should have listened. And then this part right here, this panel completely comes through from the first page on our first issue on why Akujin said this. She told Rogue, "Get out of here, Rogue." Rogue said, "I can still fight." And she said, "Leave her now while you still can. You haven't her power, Rogue. You're not Rogue Green." Now we completely see why she said that. Storm has lost her mutant powers, and someone she contained in Storm number 5 of her 2024 run has crawled out of her and back into this world, laughing as we are shown a headless Phantomex and dead Warpath. Iceman is contained on a magic circle. Rogue is on her knees as Egon exorcises himself from Storm. He gives Rogue Red his deepest felt gratitude. By reasons of her bravery and heroism, the Storm Goddess and he will get to continue their dance for a very long time. And then he finally gets to it. He goes full Egon and grabs Rogue by the neck with one hand of nails and puts another nail to her throat, saying, "Now tell me, do you think splaying your body across this wasteland will get your friend the most riled up? Or will she need your remains to be a little bit more recognizable?" Like I said, full Egon. Now, taken back to the present in Nigeria, Storm speaks. "You are a friend turned brother, Remy. That is why I tolerate this exchange. I have never judged you for Rogue Red's heartbreak, because we are who we are, and the heart wants what it wants. You love Rogue Green, and you chose Rogue Green. Everyone should have the freedom to choose whomever they want to spend the rest of their life with. But do not come to me like a chivalrous knight, demanding the whereabouts of your fair maiden, as though you did not abandon her without a care for what became of her." Oh, she's not lying. Gambit says, "Don't." Storm questions, "Don't?" Gambit proceeds with, "Yeah, don't. Don't be acting like this tongue lashing wouldn't be coming my way, even if Gambit chose different." I mean, not to interject, but I'm going to. There was option C. I mean, during the Krakoa era, Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean were doing option D. This was your thruple dream moment. Complete thruple dream moment. And you just kissed the card, signed it, and threw it goodbye. How much you think Rogue's heart gonna break if she think I got feelings for another femme? How Storm interrupts Gambit, saying, "You're here now, in search of this other woman. What changed?" Before Gambit can give an answer, a magic blast is sent past them, blowing up the background, causing everything to shake as Gambit and Storm are tossed from the explosion. "Aurora, descendant of Ashake," Egon speaks before he's shown. "The fishmen of Osun told me that you were in desperate search of me." The fishmen of... Wait, are you talking about these guys? I believe this right here is the last page of issue number 1, and we saw Storm slaughter these guys. The Primal Storm began here for us. This is where the real name for her came, because that's what Gambit's been dealing with this whole time. So these guys are the fishmen of Osun. Okay, thank you for this. "I'm sorry it took this long to get back to you, sweet child. I've been hard at work making sure none of this world's mystics would interrupt our little soiree." Egon names the sorcerers and Sorcerer Supreme off as he swallows them. We are shown Voodoo, Doom, Scarlet Witch, Stephen and Clea Strange, Agatha Harkness, and Damon Hellstrom. Yes, this man literally just swallowed all of these sorcerers, these mystics, like it was nothing. Storm, unafraid per usual, that's the goddess, grabs her saddle and hustles towards Egon, who is shown past the horizon with his horde coming for blood. He says, like I butchered and ate them all, so will I cut you open and devour you, Aurora. Storm jumps in the air, summoning a creature with her saddle as Egon speaks. I will defile your planet despite the memory of you. Whisper your name into the ears of every man, woman, and child that I slaughter. He's gone full Egon again, y'all. Full Egon. But before the fun begins, this is it, Storm Goddess of Earth. All I can muster, all of my mighty wickedness against your valor. Now was the time for last words, is what we see as Egon's mouth widens and his eyes begin to glow yellow. The last panel shows Storm on her summoned bird wielding her mighty axe, flying into battle, with a to be concluded on the bottom of the page. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys come back for the next one. We're going to be running Rogue Storm number 3. Thanks to Rogue and Storm, an ancient evil has been let loose upon the world. Sorcerers are meeting their brutal ends. With the help of the disgraced sorcerer Daniel Drumm, the dead brother of Dr. Voodoo, Rogue and Storm face the ancient evil in a final showdown. Make sure you like and follow for more. I'm Jordan Blaine of New Comga, and Rogue Storm is verified.